That's it. You don't even get that title no more. You lost it. You're a sperm donor.
She didn't hire a lawyer. She didn't call a blog. She went live and said everything. NBA YoungBoy's baby mama went live and said things that cannot be unsaid. She named names. She showed evidence. And now millions of people are asking the same question. Did she just end NBA YoungBoy's career for good? Let's find out. The bombshell. On March 2nd, 2026, a woman named Arcola, the mother of NBA YoungBoy's son Kale, went live on social media and said everything she had been sitting on for years. No PR team, no lawyer, no carefully worded statement dropped through a rep. She pulled up a camera, looked dead into it, and went absolutely crazy. And by the time she was done, millions of people had seen every single second of it, because what she was saying wasn't just about her situation. It was about a pattern that a lot of people had already peeped. It was about a marriage that a lot of people had already been side-eyeing. And it was about a little boy who came home from a visit with a mark on his hand that his mama was not about to let slide. The woman she put on blast for all of it, NBA YoungBoy's wife, Jaslyn Michelle, and Shorty did not come to play. Before we get into exactly what Arcola said and exactly why it hit the way it hit, you gotta understand the full picture. Because if you're walking into this cold without knowing who these people are and what the history looks like, you're gonna miss the whole point. So let's build it from the jump. NBA YoungBoy, born Kentrell Deshaun Gaulden on October 20th, 1999, in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, is not your average artist. We are not talking about somebody who's hot right now and might cool off next year. We are talking about a certified, documented, record-breaking force in this rap game who has been going stupid since he was a teenager. As of early 2026, he holds the record for the most Billboard 200 chart entries by any rapper in history, 34 albums charted, breaking a record that had stood for years and doing it in just 8 years of dropping projects. He is the most RIAA certified rapper of all time, sitting on over 126 gold or higher certifications as a lead artist. Complex put him on the cover and called him Best Rapper Alive for 2025. His Make America Slime Again tour grossed over $70 million across 42 shows and moved 555,000 tickets. His YouTube channel is sitting at over 15 billion views. For a stretch, he was the most watched musician on that entire platform, period. This man is not a fluke. He is a franchise. And yet, for as long as his name has been ringing bells in the music industry, his personal life has been the headline that just won't stay in the back seat. Because outside the booth, YoungBoy is out here managing something that most people genuinely cannot fathom. 13 biological children with approximately 10 different women, starting from when he was just 16 years old. His oldest, Caden, nicknamed Draco, was born in 2016 when YoungBoy was barely old enough to drive. His youngest, his 13th, was just announced by Jaslyn Michelle in late February 2026, just days before all of this popped off. No cap, the timing on that could not have been more wild. Jaslyn Michelle Hayes is YoungBoy's wife. They linked up around 2022 and made it official with a marriage in 2023. She has given him at least 3 children, with the newest baby pulling up just before this whole situation went nuclear. On the surface, Jaslyn has always moved like the unbothered queen, staying off the blogs, not engaging with the drama, posting family content, looking good doing it, and letting YoungBoy's loyalty speak for itself. That image, the clean, composed, ride or die wife who is simply built different from everyone else in his orbit, is exactly what Arcola pulled up to tear down brick by brick. Arcola is often listed as YoungBoy's 7th baby mama, and she is the mother of his son Cal, born around 2020 or 2021. From most accounts, she has been out here raising Cal largely on her own. No cosigns, no blog presence, no reality show bag. She was not a fixture in the ongoing drama cycle. But something happened, something involving her son coming home from a visit at YoungBoy and Jaslyn's spot with a mark on his hand that she was not buying the explanation for, and whatever that something was, it flipped a switch that apparently had been waiting a long time to get flipped. A viral compilation post from the account, Since Day One on X, stitched her clips together and racked up hundreds of thousands of views almost immediately. The caption on that post did exactly what a good caption is supposed to do. It framed the whole thing. It positioned Arcola as finally confirming what fans had been saying for a minute, that Jaslyn was, in that post's words, a wolf in sheep's clothing, looking innocent, moving grimy, and Arcola, sitting in front of that camera with the kind of no-holds-barred energy that only comes from real, accumulated, lived-in frustration, was not about to let anyone miss a single detail of what she had to say.
Mom stopped the car when you was 13 and turned around and spit on you. I probably would have did the same. thing.
She didn't ease into it. She didn't warm up the crowd. She came straight out the gate with smoke, and every single person watching immediately understood that this was not a performance. This was not a clout move. This was somebody who had been sitting on something real and finally stopped caring about how it looked to let it out.
The fuck, bitch? You purposely burnt my baby.
That word, burnt, is where this whole thing pivots, because the injury to Kale's finger is the foundation that every single one of Arcola's allegations was built on top of, and she was not here for any alternative explanation. When she texted Jaslyn about the mark on her son's hand, Jaslyn hit her back and said it was a dog bite, and Arcola didn't just disagree with that. She went on camera and bodied the explanation with her bare hands.
That's not a dog bite. I can pull up dog bites.
And that is exactly what she did. Right there on the live, she started pulling up images of real dog bites and holding them up for comparison like she was presenting closing arguments. She turned her own live stream into a courtroom, and she was prosecuting the case herself.
Let's see what dog bites look like. That's not a dog bite. That is a burn.
Every comment section on every platform where that clip landed went crazy. People were describing what they were seeing, pointing out the shape of the mark, the coloring, the location on the finger. The internet had already made up its mind before she even finished her sentence.
I could see the brown at the top. That is a burn. And let KL tell it.
Now, and this is important because we're not out here doing reckless. As of March 4th, 2026, there are no police reports filed, no confirmed CPS investigation publicly, and no mainstream verification of the burn claim. These are Arcola's allegations, made live, in real time, in the middle of what was clearly one of the most heated moments of her life. But she believed every word she said, and she believed it enough to put her name on it in front of millions of people. She was also hot about what she said didn't happen after the injury was found. She questioned why, if this was truly a dog bite, nobody took Kale to get a tetanus shot. She questioned why there was zero medical follow-up at all. For any mama watching that live, those are not small details. Those are the whole conversation.
He thinks when I got hit in the eye, it was his his SPERM space DONOR. You're not a dad. You're just a sperm donor.
She had moved past the injury and into something that had clearly been eating at her for much longer. The accusation that YoungBoy had never been a real, consistent, present father to Kale in any meaningful way. That the pickups were for the gram, that the visits were content, that the day-to-day was all on her.
That's it. You don't even get that title no more. You lost it. You're a sperm donor.
And then she locked in on Jaslyn, and this is where the wolf in sheep's clothing narrative went from fan gossip to something that felt like documented fact to everybody watching.
Think she's superior sitting in a house getting cheated on.
She was going after the persona, the carefully maintained, squeaky clean persona of the woman who was simply too elevated to be touched by the messiness around her. Arcola was saying, loudly, publicly, on camera, that the persona was a lie, and that the woman behind it knew exactly what she was building, and exactly why she was building it.
You got some nerve to lie to me about my kid. That's why them beef. Your husband down.
By the time she got to this point, the live stream had already outgrown the co-parenting argument it started as. It had become a full-on referendum on Jaslyn's entire identity, and on whether the domestic stability YoungBoy had been publicly leaning on was something he had actually built, or something he had just been marketing.
My son didn't do. He's innocent. She still asks about your dirty.
And right there, underneath all of that heat, underneath all of that raw fury, was the thing that made the whole thing land differently than regular celebrity drama. Because a child who still asks about his father, who still says he misses him, is not a talking point. He is a real little kid who has real feelings. And his mother was in that camera fighting for him the only way she knew how.
He still say he miss you. Anyways, I'm done. My TED Talk.
Thanks for coming to my TED Talk. In the middle of one of the realest, rawest moments of her entire life, she still landed the line. And the whole internet, without even agreeing on everything else, agreed on that. Shorty had bars. Everything that built up to the explosion. The most critical piece of history between Arcola and YoungBoy goes back to November of 2023. Arcola publicly accused YoungBoy of having two women run up on her at his Utah home while he was on house arrest. She said she had pulled up to get kale. She said the situation got physical fast. She said she caught a blow above her eye that left her needing 5 stitches, and that she was holding her baby in her arms when it happened. The whole thing allegedly started over, whether YoungBoy was going to cover her flight costs to come get her own child. Texts involving Jaslyn surfaced as part of that financial back and forth, though Jaslyn was not accused of being directly involved in the physical altercation itself. Arcola said she wasn't pressing charges, but she made absolutely sure the streets knew the story. That was 2023. By 2026, nothing between them had gotten better. It had gotten worse. So when Arcola announced on that March 2026 live that she was taking YoungBoy to court for child support, with a court date locked in for June 26, 2026 at 8 in the morning, nobody in the comments should have been surprised. She wasn't freestyling. She had already filed. She was already in the system. The live was just where she made it public knowledge. She closed one of her rants with the kind of send-off that only hits right when you know the bag is secured. See you June 26th at 8 a.m. Thanks for coming to my TED Talk. That's not a threat. That's a calendar invite. Her accusations about YoungBoy's parenting went wider than just the injury too. She called him a deadbeat, said he only pulls up for photos and videos, the kind of content that makes him look like a present father on the timeline, but that when it comes to changing diapers, consistent care, or putting real money on the table in a sustained way, he wasn't showing up. And when she explained why, she kept it all the way 100. He got a whole football team of kids. Of course he gonna be a deadbeat. 13 children, 10 mothers. Do the math on how much time and presence any one child can realistically receive from a man who is also navigating house arrest, federal cases, a music empire, and a marriage. The math is not giving what it needs to give. But this drama was never going to stay contained to just Arcola and YoungBoy, because nothing in this man's orbit ever stays a two-person situation. The first person to come through and pour more gas on the fire was Ayanna Mayweather, daughter of Floyd Mayweather, and the mother of YoungBoy's son, Kentrell Jr. And if you know anything about this story, you already know that Yaya is not a background character. She is one of the most significant figures in the entire YoungBoy saga, and her history in this situation goes to some very dark places. On the night of April 3rd, 2020, at YoungBoy's home in Houston, Texas, Yaya stabbed LaPatra Jacobs, another one of YoungBoy's baby mamas, multiple times in the arm. The situation kicked off when Yaya pulled up to the crib, found LaPatra there, and what started as a verbal confrontation escalated into straight-up violence. She was arrested on aggravated assault with a deadly weapon, a second-degree felony that carried a potential sentence of 2 to 20 years in prison. In April 2022, she pleaded guilty and received 6 years of deferred adjudication probation. And then, in November 2025, years after the incident, she posted a public apology, addressed her parents, addressed LaPatra Jacobs by name, and put it all in the frame of growth